I have returned with 2016. Let's talk about books. I'm here to tell you the best books that I read in 2015. Ha, you thought I would abandon that tradition? Just kidding, I hadn't crossed your mind at all because I haven't made a video in a year, but here I am to make this video for you. The way I make this video is I just go to Goodreads in the beginning of the new year and see all the books that I gave 5 stars to last year. In 2015, I gave 8 books 5 stars. I don't currently have any of these books with me because I currently live in Boston, in case you didn't notice. This is a new room, and all of my books are still all the way in Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, my first 5-star book was a book of poems called Chicago Poems by Carl Sandburg. I love these poems so much, and I really love Chicago, so I'm a little bit biased, but I think that most people would love a lot of these poems. They're published in 1916 by Carl Sandburg, who was like a working class poet in Chicago. These poems are really about recognizing the beauty of everyday life, especially everyday urban working class life. They're very, very accessible, and they're very beautiful, and the simplicity of the language and the depth of the people he's encountering. My second book is The Disreputable History of Frankie Landau Banks by E. Lockhart. I love this book. I love it so much. I read it in the very beginning of the year and I kind of forgotten about it until I looked at it right now on Goodreads. I thought it was really feminist, and I loved like the power of the main character and the way it was written and the cleverness in the book and the writing. And I know that sounds really vague, but I don't want to go through a plot analysis. I totally recommend it, especially if you're interested in gender issues, especially in teenagers. Book number 3 is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. So I started this challenge a couple years ago where I want to read like one big fat classic every summer. So 2 years ago in the summer I read Anna Karenina, and then last year I read Great Expectations. I had never read any Charles Dickens before, and I just really, really loved it. Like, he's a beautiful writer. I really love writers who can just make a beautiful sentence. It's why I really like The Great Gatsby, why I really like poetry, and Charles Dickens knows how to make a sentence. The analysis of like the human condition in this book is so interesting and beautiful, and there were so many things that I highlighted because I thought they were really well written sentences, and they were really, really true, and they just like really hit me while I read it. Charles Dickens also wasn't difficult to read. I know some people get sort of hung up on classics being inaccessible, but I promise that Charles Dickens was not an inaccessible book. It was long. I mean, it's a big fat classic, that's why I read it. But if you can sit in for the long haul, it's totally worth it. My next favorite book that I read in 2015 is called Claudette Colvin Twice Toward Justice by Philip M. Hoos. This book is amazing, and you should read it right now if you're interested in civil rights, the complex issues of race and gender, especially in the 60s, especially with social justice and activism and stuff. I don't know, it was just amazing. It's about this girl named Claudette Colvin who was 16, and she was a black girl, and she refused to get up from the bus and give her seat to a white person, and this was before Rosa Parks, and it became this huge deal, except that she didn't become, you know, this hero of civil rights because she became a mother. She became pregnant. And having a pregnant teenage girl be the sort of spokeswoman of the movement in the way that Rosa Parks could be was not acceptable. So this book goes through her entire story. Claudette Colvin is still alive, and the author was able to talk to her a lot and get her story, and it's so interesting. So interesting. A bit of history that no one really knows about, and this is the only book about her, and it's written for a YA audience, which is amazing. I don't think this one will surprise you if you've watched my other videos, but I read 13 Words, which is a picture book by Lemony Snicket, and I love Lemony Snicket. He's so funny and unexpected, and the words he uses are just, they make you smile so much because they are unexpected and because they're so clever, and they just make you happy that he thought of them. I also read this picture book about Audrey Hepburn by Margaret Cardillo. The artwork is adorable, and you learn so much about Audrey Hepburn that you don't know, or at least I didn't know. I don't know that much about Audrey Hepburn, except that she was beautiful. It reminds me of one of those Tumblr posts about her, about all the awesome things she did and how history remembers her for being pretty. This book was really good at showing how badass she is, although I wouldn't use that word because it's a children's book. I just thought it was lovely. I give another 5 stars to I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I loved the words in this book. Again, I just love when beautiful sentences are created, and Jandy Nelson was really good at writing in a way that explained the mind of the artist, who is one of the main characters. It both of the main characters. It was really, really beautiful how she did that, and that's sort of why I got this book from a 4 to a 5, was the way that she was able to write in the style that showed the creative minds of the characters. And my last 2 books, but they're together, that I gave 5 stars to is my new obsession is Lumberjanes, which is a graphic novel about these girls who are at a camp, like a summer camp, and they have all these adventures that have like mythological creatures, and it's all about girl power and the power of friendship, and it is so funny, and so it warms your heart, and I just recommend it to every human being in the world. Everyone should read Lumberjanes, and then everyone should celebrate their friends and the power of love and friendship and bravery, and it's just so good. And those are all the books that I really, really loved this year. Please tell me if there are any books that you really, really loved that you read this year. I would love to add them to my ever-growing list on my to-read list on Goodreads. Also, you may be watching this video because you watched a video of mine that was a spoken word poem. Thank you for watching that video and for watching this one. It's kind of crazy to me. That video has a ton of views, so I've never really been into putting my poems on YouTube, but maybe I should? I don't know. Maybe. Let me know. I'm thinking about it. Okay. I'll see you guys later.